the time this will be affected by the money supply, the currency supplied and demanded. If you ask what is the reason behind the strengthening and weakening of local currency, because we have seen that when the direct exchange rate decreases, it means the India's rupee is getting stronger, the local currency is getting stronger. But if you ask what makes it strong, is the demand for that currency. Most of the time the rule of economics are not obsolete, but holding other factors constant, the supply of the currency might weaken or strengthen the local currency. For example, think of from the India's perspective, think of just for all of the example, think of your local currency as rupee. Imagine in India, this much percent of the country is trading with the Australian dollar. However, there are small amount of rupee in the hands of individuals. I mean, in the financial institution or wherever you call it, just in that country. At this time, the demand for rupee will increase. However, there is too much amount of Australian dollar. The supply of the dollar is too much. People do not want it because there are plenty of dollar. The country doesn't want a dollar anymore because she have one. She have a lot. However, the country demands a rupee more. This results in a strengthening of the local currency, because when the demand for that currency increases, people need more and the currency will become stronger. What does it mean the currency is stronger? The direct exchange rate is already fallen, or when the country's currency is stronger, the direct exchange rate will decrease. This means one Australian dollar buy a few rupees only, not too much. If you see from the perspective of, just don't focus on this, but if you see from the perspective of indirect exchange rate, when you say our local currency has increased, I mean it's getting strong. When we say that our local currency is strong, we are saying that the indirect exchange rate is increasing. This means one Indian dollar can buy a lot of Australian dollars. This means one Indian rupee is stronger than the Australian dollar. What if India doesn't have too much amount of Australian dollar? When this happens, the local currency of India is getting weak because there are too much amount of rupees. The country doesn't need it anymore. Doesn't need too much amount of rupees or additional rupees because there is excess of it. However, hence there is small amount of dollar in the country. People need the dollar. This means the local currency of rupee or India is getting weak as the amount of dollar accumulated in India decreases. What do we mean when the local currency is getting weak? We are saying that the direct exchange rate is increasing, which means $1 can buy a lot of rupees. If $1 can buy a lot of rupees, this means $1 is strong than these rupees. Just don't focus again about the second, but also indirect exchange rate is decreasing. This means one Indian dollar is weak. The amount of dollar these rupees buy is decreasing. When the direct exchange rate or the amount of rupees this dollar bought increase, the amount of dollar this rupees bought decreases. It's a way of explanation, two different ways of explanation, but which have the same meaning. So to conclude, one thing you should know is when the supply of the local currency increases, the demand for this local currency will decline eventually, which makes the currency weaker. And when the currency is getting weaker, when the local currency is weaker, it cannot buy too much amount of foreign currency, which is shown in the form of declining in indirect exchange rate or increasing increasing direct exchange rate. However, when the supply of this local currency is low, that local currency is getting stronger, which is